be bulletproof.
All right, NXT Stand And Deliver is over, but we do have the results here. I'm going to tell you what I think of this year NXT Stand And Deliver. Let's tune in more to the red carpet reign and let's talk about it.
If you come at the king, you best not miss.
Acknowledge us.
Hey, guys, we're here at the red carpet reign. We'll talk about NXT Stand And Deliver 2025 review. We're talking about the recap of Stand And Deliver. Get the likes as we come into the ring to talk about it. We have the results of the whole PLE for this year's. To kick off WrestleMania weekend, as you can see, guys, this is the match card as follows. We had one match on the pre-show. We had 5 other matches, as a whole. Altogether 6 matches, but let's go over a few things as we begin the road to WrestleMania and Stand Deliver weekend. Now, we know here for the pre-show, whoever won a tag team match, they will go on to get a future women's tag team championship match against the tag team champions on the next episode of NXT. Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley won. In a surprising turn, Roxanne Perez turned on Cora Jade in the middle of the match. So we'll see how that goes as well, too, because that sucked that she turned on her like that. All right, the first match, official match on the card was Ricky Starks defending the North American Championship against challenger Ethan Page. These two played out very well. It was a good kickoff. We saw a lot of offense from both Ethan and Ricky. It looked like it could have went either way. It could have been a Ethan win, looked like he was going to secure the win, but it ended up being, at the end of the day, Ricky Starks pulling it out, and he got the pinfall on Ethan Page. And yes, Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints is still the North American champion. So this was the first Stand and Deliver for both Ethan and Ricky, and I thought both men did well in their debut for Stand and Deliver. And I think they're going to definitely do what they got to do to keep moving, keep thriving, and keep elevating the mid-card for the North American Championship. So good win to Ricky Saints. Let's move on to the next match on the card. Second match on the card, we had a tag team championship match. We had Fraxium, Nathan Frazier, Axiom versus Hank and Tank. This is one of my favorite matches of the night. We saw both Fraxium look like they had it in the bag to retain the titles, but Hank and Tank kept fighting it out. And after everything they done, Hank and Tank kept grinding. And after a whole long fought, at the end of the day, Hank and Tank are your brand new NXT Tag Team Champions. And in a very, very respectable run of Fraxium. One of the best runs in NXT history as far as the Tag Team Championship goes. So Fraxium have nothing to be ashamed about. They went against a very, very hungry team. Like I said, Cinderella's story, as I called it, I said Hank and Tank was going to win. Now, it seemed like Fraxium was going to turn heel as they kicked out the hands of Hank and Tank, but instead hugging the men, embracing them, and showing very good sportsmanship to the brand new NXT Tag Team Champions. So congratulations to Hank and Tank winning those belts, and shout out to Fraxium putting on a great reign once again. Next, all right, we got the 6-man tag here. We got the family, Tony D'Angelo's, Channing Stacks, and Lucha versus Dark State. This was a good kickoff match for the tag team, for these men, because we know this rivalry has been brewing. Channing Stacks was taking a beating early on by Dark State. Tony D'Angelo was just standing there looking at Tony, and he finally got himself the hot tag. Tony D'Angelo did what he had to do, and it seemed like when it was done, it seemed like Stacks was going to turn on Tony D'Angelo when he grabbed the crowbar in the match. However, ref caught him. Tony D'Angelo had Stacks put away. But Stacks afterwards will low blow Tony D'Angelo. As anticipated, he turned on the family, calls it Tony D'Angelo, feeding him to the wolves, taking a loss to Dark State. Dark State gets the win in their debut match on the PLE. And also, we do have Tony D'Angelo. They're officially done. They imploded at this point. Expect a rivalry between Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks in the near future. Both men are definitely going to do a thing. But great match, and great storytelling by both stables. Can't wait to see what's going to happen next. Next match we'll talk about on the card, we had the vacant Women's North American Championship between 6 women. All women fought out to a victory. I will say Izzy Dame was the MVP of this matchup. She really impressed me on how she was dominating early on the match. I liked also good spots as well from Thea Hale. She did her thing. And we saw a little bit of Lola Vice do her thing. But it came down to Zarya Soruka tag team partners. And yes, Soruka is your brand new women's North American champion. And she currently still holds the speed champion. Now, she was at the top of my list because the WWE just gave her the speed title. But I'm glad she won. Soruka very well deserved it. She put over people. It's her time to shine now. Congratulations to Soruka on winning the brand new Women's North American Champion. Let's move on to the next match. We got the women's 4-way title match for the women's NXT title. Stephanie defended the title against Jordan, Jada, and Julia. I will say here, this was one of my least favorite matches. It seemed like it was real uncoordinated, real sloppy. However, I will say if Jada Parker was the MVP of this match, she had the triple teardrop. She had the dominance. Julia had her strong style. But at the end of the day, neither one of those women were going to win the title. Neither would Jordan Grace. It ended up being Stephanie Walker. She retained the NXT Women's Championship. So, I will say, I'll talk more about this though, but I will say I'm not surprised Stephanie retained the championship. But by the way the match was going, Stephanie was really not fighting like the champion that I thought she would be. She barely pulled out a victory. It could have easily went to Julia at some points, maybe even Jada Parker at some points. But congratulations, Stephanie Walker retaining the NXT Women's Championship. Whatever she had to do, hard fought victory. She stuck it out, and she's still the champion. Let's get on to the main event of NXT Stand And Deliver. Triple threat match. We got Javon Evans and Trick Williams challenging Obafemi for the NXT Championship. This is the second year in a row we got black men representing the NXT brand main eventing Stand And Deliver like last year, Trick and Mello. But these 3 men put on a wrestling clinic. It's from start to finish. I like the spot where Trick Williams rock bottom Obafemi outside the ring. I like Javon Evans putting all those cutters on Obafemi. He reversed Obafemi's powerbomb. I like Obafemi. He was dominant like the champion that he is. He was dominating both Trick and Javon at certain parts of the match. I even like the spot where Obafemi grabbed the referee to stop the count when Trick Williams had the trick shot on Javon, and even grabbed Trick, stopping the count at the last minute. But at the end of the day, all 3 of these men, they should take a bow for the work they put in. This is like one of the best Stand and Deliver main events I've ever seen. And not just that, but one of the best triple threats I've ever seen. I thought what Obafemi did last year as North American champion of triple threat, a match was something that Stand and Deliver. This easily topped that, and that match was amazing. If you guys check that out from last year, Stand and Deliver. But like I said, Obafemi, he is the ruler for a reason. He dominates. He shines like no other. Future main event WrestleMania star. And he, yes, retained his title. And he is still the NXT champion. So salute to all 3 men once again, putting on a great show like they did. Trick Williams, I don't know what's going to happen with him. He's going to be in some, maybe go down the undercard. Javon Evans, bright future ahead of him. Future champion, future North America champion, future NXT champion. So I'm calling that right now. But this was all of the events that occurred at Stand and Deliver from beginning of the card to the end of the card. I did not want to leave my screen at all watching this whole PLE. They always put out a great show, and they always find a way to kick off WrestleMania weekend just right. They never failed to do that. I loved how the storyline went and everything. So that was amazing of how that went as a whole. I like. Now the next PLE for NXT Stand and Deliver, I believe, is Battleground. That will be in May. That's around the time where WWE have the Saturday night's main event and everything. So that's going to be good. But I'm expecting some very good storylines to be started. We got Tony D'Angelo and Stax. They're going to have a very good storyline going. We have a brand new tag team champions in Hank and Tank. So I'm waiting for who's going to be the next challengers for these men. We have also a brand new Women's North American champion, So Ruka, her first title on a major PLE and her first title on on TV, because the Speed title is an internet title, not a real TV title, not a real television title. But I'm loving the whole thing. But let me give my review of what I thought about Stand and Deliver. After everything I've saw today, Stand and Deliver gets an easy 4.5 out of 5. I thought everything was great storytelling from the beginning to the end. I also like too how everything, the stories that were being told, they were not rushed storylines. They were like easily calculated. Like another story that was easily calculated was the whole Oba, Trick, and Javon, how that stirred up, and Tony D'Angelo on the family and everything else. But I'll go over the best match on the card and the worst match on the card for Stand and Deliver. The best match I would say was the triple threat main event. I would say Trick Williams. I said this before, he's not the best in-ring performer, but when he shines with other great performers and have the great atmosphere, that's where we see the best out of Trick Williams. We saw that last year, NXT Stand And Deliver against Carmelo Hayes. And over him, he's just the king of triple threats, and he proved it once again at the Stand And Deliver PLE. Now let's go over the worst match on the card. I would say it's the four-way women's match. I would say Stephanie Walker, kind of, in my opinion, for what I've seen, she's overrated as a wrestler. I think the reason she's over because the fans like that one move that she does, the same move that Charlotte Flair does with her legs. And also, she's a little uncoordinated. Jordan Grace from TNA, she's a good powerhouse, but she moves too fast and she got to slow it down a bit. But other than that, though, that was out of all great matches. That's what I saw. But other than that, that's all I have for NXT Stand and Deliver 2025 review. You guys check out that PLE. It's definitely something worth watching, not just once, but maybe even 2-3 times. It was very, very good stories told. Most of my predictions were right, but it was at least something worth watching. So check out the content here at Red Carpet Rain. Until then, guys, you already know what it is. It's OUT.